You were taught that God flooded the earth because of human wickedness. But that's only half the story. Because before the flood, there were giants, not metaphorical, not tall warriors, real, hybrid beings, born from the union of angels and women, and their existence was the ultimate crime against the order of creation. Let's open the records. What the book of Genesis hints at. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bore children to them.
Genesis 6:4. Who were the sons of God?
The Hebrew calls them benei Elohim, not men, but divine beings.
In other words, angels.
They descended. They took human wives. They broke dimensional law. The result? Nephilim, from Nephal, meaning to fall. Giant hybrids, part divine, part flesh. With no soul alignment, no mercy, and a hunger that devoured the earth. What the book of Enoch fully reveals. The book of Enoch, chapters 6 to 15, fills in what Genesis conceals. 200 angels led by Semjaza and Azazel swore an oath to descend on Mount Hermon. They mated with women, corrupting human genetics. They taught humanity forbidden sciences, alchemy, astrology, weaponry, root cutting. Their offspring were giants of 3,000 ells tall, over 1,000 meters in some interpretations. These beings drank the blood of men, devoured all beasts, and even began to attack the heavens. This wasn't mythology. It was a genetic insurgency. The angels who were meant to guard creation had corrupted it from within. The problem wasn't just size, it was code. Nephilim were born of spiritual beings and human bodies, but they couldn't hold a soul. They had infinite hunger, no divine empathy, and the ability to reproduce abominations. Worse, their corrupted DNA began to spread into humans, animals, and even plants. That's why Genesis 6:12 says, "All flesh had corrupted its way upon the earth." This was a total breakdown of creation, a violation of the divine matrix. And God's response? Not just judgment, containment. Noah wasn't chosen because he was morally perfect. Noah was perfect in his generations. Genesis 6:9. The Hebrew word is tamim, used for unblemished genetics. Noah was a preserved bloodline. He and his family were genetically intact, uncontaminated by Nephilim corruption. The ark wasn't just a floating zoo. It was a genetic vault, a repository of pure strands, sealed away while the world's hybrid monstrosities were wiped clean. This wasn't divine rage. This was a cosmic quarantine. Because if the Nephilim DNA reached critical mass, humanity would no longer be human. And that's exactly what they're trying again today. You might be asking, if the flood wiped them out, why does the Bible say there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that? Genesis 6:4. Because some survived, or their spirits did. Og of Bashan, a giant king defeated by Moses' Goliath, over 9 feet tall, armored like a tank. The Rephaim, Anakim, Zamzumim, all described as monstrous, tall, and unnatural tribes. But here's the real twist. The souls of the Nephilim, the hybrid spirits, were denied heaven and earth. They became the unclean spirits, and now the giants, who are produced from the spirits and flesh, shall be called evil spirits upon the earth. Enoch 15:8-9. These are your demons, restless, bodiless entities still seeking bodies to possess. And they've never stopped trying. The flood came. The giants drowned. The earth was purified. But the war never ended. Because while the bodies of the Nephilim were destroyed, their essence remained. And their agenda? To reclaim the earth, not by invasion, but by infiltration. Let's expose the secrets they've buried for 4,000 years. The bloodlines that survived. The book of Enoch explains, "The spirits of the giants shall afflict, oppress, destroy, attack, do battle, and work destruction on the earth." Enoch 15:11-12. These spirits are restless, bodiless, and vicious. But if they can find a vessel, a bloodline that carries a fragment of their DNA, they can return. That's why Canaan was cursed after the flood. That's why Nimrod, great-grandson of Noah, became a mighty one, not born a giant, but transformed into one. And that's where the post-flood hybrid project began. Because the Nephilim didn't just want bodies, They wanted kingdoms. The Bible and ancient texts point to entire empires infected with Nephilim blood. Canaanite tribes like the Anakim and Rephaim. The Amorites, described by God as tall as cedars. The Phoenician kings of Tyre, worshippers of fallen gods and serpent deities. The pharaohs of Egypt, whose skulls and statues show elongated heads, often wrapped at birth to mimic divine traits. But it doesn't stop there. Let's talk about the real agenda. To preserve hybrid bloodlines, pass them through dynasties, and keep power in the hands of the corrupted elite. Enter the idea of divine right of kings. Where did it come from? The belief that rulers are chosen by heaven, that their blood is blue, not like commoners, that they are gods among men. This wasn't symbolic. It was a cover story for genetic elitism, a secret that some royal families were descended from the Nephilim, and thus believed themselves superior. Fast forward to today. Genealogy research, mtDNA studies, and blood factor analyses are uncovering anomalies. The Rh-negative blood type, present in many elite families, including European royalty, has no evolutionary origin. Certain haplogroups cluster unnaturally around powerful dynasties. Traits such as enhanced height, left-handedness, and psychic sensitivity show up disproportionately in occult-linked bloodlines. Coincidence? Or is this the residue of ancient hybridization? Modern science won't admit it. Secret societies already know. Because from the Merovingians of Franceto, the black nobility of Veneceto, the 13 bloodlines outlined by whistleblowers like Fritz Springmeier, a thread runs through them all. Preserve the code. Control the world. The hybrid agenda evolves. Today, we don't need fallen angels to descend. We have something more dangerous. CRISPR, genetic editing, AI-driven eugenics. We are now capable of doing exactly what the Watchers did. Manipulating DNA across species, mixing human and animal genes. Chimera research is real. Creating soul-disconnected vessels via synthetic biology. This is not future science. It's happening now. Human-animal hybrids created in labs in China and Israel, attempts to implant memories and edit personalities, programs to eliminate undesirable traits, aka playing God. We are on the edge of creating post-human entities just like the Nephilim. But this time, it's not angels corrupting flesh. It's man becoming the new Watcher and opening the same gate that was closed by the flood. And once that gate opens, the unclean spirits will have new homes. History is repeating with better tools. Think about it. A flood reset the last genetic rebellion. The survivors built Babylon, the first one-world system. The Tower of Babel was not just about pride. It was a dimensional technology, and now we have a global elite seeking to unify the world, a push toward transhumanism and AI merging, a digital Tower of Babel, the cloud, data towers, quantum control grids. This is not evolution. This is devolution into the same ancient war, human versus hybrid, soul versus synthetic, God's design versus the corrupted code. The first flood was physical. The next one is genetic. And the war isn't coming. It's already here. Because the same beings that corrupted creation before the flood, the Watchers, the Nephilim, the disembodied spirits, never stopped their agenda. They just changed the method. And today, their final weapon isn't size. It's data. Let's call this what it is, the digital Nephilim agenda. Here's how it works. First, corrupt the body with artificial code, synthetic foods, pharma, injections, lab-altered genomes. Second, corrupt the mind, endless screen time, hypnotic social media loops, AI dopamine warfare. Third, erase the soul's memory, disconnect humans from nature, silence intuition, ridicule the sacred, and finally, offer immortality through technology, Neuralink, mind uploading, synthetic avatars. In other words, replace God's design with a replica. It separates a human from a Nephilim. The soul signature. In ancient texts, angels were never allowed to mix with flesh. Their essence was pure energy, not meant to entangle with earth matter, but they did it anyway. The result was a being that looked powerful, but lacked divine alignment. Today, we are repeating the process. Humans are being encouraged to merge with AI, alter their genes, replace organic birth with designer embryos, download consciousness into silicon shells. The end game? A new species, post-human, pre-demonic. Why do you think Enoch was so precise in naming the sins of the Watchers? Because the moment a being loses resonance with the source, its body may live, but its soul becomes unreachable. That's the real extinction. Not the loss of bodies, but the death of soul alignment. The final war, not tanks, but templates. Every sacred tradition agrees. The final battle isn't just about land, power, or armies. It's about identity. In the Quran, Dajjal, the Antichrist, is described as a deceiver of truth and form, even able to resurrect the dead, simulate consciousness. In Revelation, the beast forces all to receive a mark, not just physical, but one that controls buying, selling, and being. In Zoroastrian prophecy, the Frashokereti, final renovation, will involve separating the truth-coded from the corrupted. So what is this war really? It's a filter, a dimensional firewall. One last test to see who stayed fully human, who remained soul-connected, and who traded their code for power, speed, and artificial life. And that filter is already activating. But here's the secret they never wanted you to know. While they've been corrupting creation, something else has been quietly awakening. The Adamic Code. The original human blueprint before the Watchers, before Babel, before the fall. A design built not just of DNA, but of light, sound, will, and divine memory. This is why the Book of Enoch was banned, because it said those who aligned with the source would be restored. And not just spiritually, but cellularly. The righteous shall arise from the earth, and the elect shall shine like the lights of heaven. Enoch 104. This is not metaphor. This is biological prophecy. Your body remembers Eden. Your cells are vibrating to hidden harmonics. Your sleep, your intuition, your dreams. They're trying to reactivate the light body. You must protect. There is no more neutral ground. You are either preserving the original human template through clean food, deep prayer, real light, spiritual alignment, or slowly shifting into the hybrid realm through screen addiction, genetic modification, synthetic emotion, and ego enhancement. This isn't conspiracy. This is the war that started in Genesis 6 and ends in Revelation 22. It's not between nations. It's between templates. Between the sons of Adam and the replicas of the Watchers. When the Watchers corrupted humanity, God sent a flood. When they return again, fully, physically, something far greater will come. A dimensional collapse. A reset so complete that only those with a soul-aligned code will make it through. That's why your job isn't to be strong, rich, or even safe. It's to be unaltered, untouched, unedited, unplugged. You must remember who you are. Because if you lose the Adamic flame inside you, there's nothing left to preserve.